right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, I'm coming at you from Florida today. And this is going to be the first video into my intro to leverage trading series. So, I talked about it a lot in the past. I want to kind of do some more beginner content, and this is kind of going to be the first video in the series of that. And I think the first question we're going to want to answer today is just kind of the basics of really what is leverage trading. Why people choose to get into this. I guess kind of the risks, the benefits, and really what you can expect. Because for most people, it's certainly going to be not the smoothest journey into leverage trading for the most part. So kind of having a bit of a baseline of what to expect can be extremely helpful. I'm just waiting for this thing to load up. And the first thing we're going to talk about is kind of why people leverage trade. So when we look at a chart, I don't know, we're going to take a Bitcoin chart. Just, for example's sake. And you can excuse my internet here. As you can see, it's not the best. But in this chart, for example, we can see the prices kind of going up, 495 to 62 and, kind of back down again. It's only moving like $4,000, right? And more importantly, for a large percent, this goes up like 2%, 3%, there's really not a ton of movement. And if you're only using, let's say, $100, something like this, right, this entire month of July, without any leverage, you catch this entire move from 55 to 67,000, you'll maybe make $13, with $100. It's just not really worth it. And that's kind of where the leverage comes in. So what the leverage will let you do is essentially take larger positions, than what your money is actually worth, with the added risk that the positions can't go to zero. So when you're trading without leverage, the price of the coin can go to zero, you lose all the money, that's fine. The big difference with this is that if the price of the coin goes to a certain amount, let's say 36, let's say 48, doesn't really matter, you would lose that entire balance. So that's kind of where leverage can be very helpful, in the sense that it'll give you the extra capital you need to be extra profitable. So if I want to take with $100, I open a $1,000 leverage position down here, and we'll just pretend that I held it, to the top. Doing this, I'll make 10 times the money, right? And again, the added risk is the fact that I lose more money faster. So pretty much all leverage does is it accelerates the process of which you lose or make money. If the price goes down 5% and you only hold it on spot, you're only going to lose 5%. But if you're holding that on leverage, you're going to lose your position times whatever leverage you have. So if I have $100 at 10x leverage, that's $1,000, I would be down 50% instead of 5%, just off that same trade. So that's kind of where leverage can be beneficial, not so beneficial, in the sense that it's pretty much just going to magnify your profit and your loss. And the next thing I would really say is, how do you want to use leverage? And for most people, you're going to end up in the trap of pretty much just buying and kind of selling in the middle. And people will teach you all sorts of things. There's like 8 million different ways to read the chart. You can draw support and resistance. You can make your order blocks. It doesn't really matter, for these purposes. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is you don't want to get in the trap where you're just willy-nilly firing off leverage positions, because this can be really dangerous, in the sense of people often don't realize how much they're going to lose, if this goes down or this goes up, and they're just going to add all the way across. And you don't really have that freedom with leverage. So what the trick with leverage is you want to be really certain on your trades. The big thing with this is, and we're going to go into this later in the series, is if you're using leverage, you have to be precise, right? You want to be entering around these lows. You have to understand, where am I going to lose all my money, right? Where am I going to make money? Where am I looking to exit the position? You can't just buy and hold, which is kind of the same mindset as spot. You do have to be a lot more precise. And in the same breath, you don't want to be buying up here and then just being trapped hopelessly underwater, right? It takes a lot more discipline with this stuff, because you can't simply be chasing the price. So I would say if you want to get into leverage, the best thing I can say is, number one, it's a lot more technical than it sounds like. You don't just fire off 100x leverage here, 20x leverage here. We'll go into this a bit later in the series, but to me, leverage is largely irrelevant. You can really control everything just off position size. So I guess the big takeaway from this video would be leverage is the way you magnetize or amplify your losses, and because of that, you really have to take the trading differently. And we're going to kind of go into in the next video what kind of trades I would look for. But this would kind of be your introduction to what is leverage trading. So I'm going to pause this video here, and I will catch you guys in the next one.